All right. Good evening, or I guess it's good afternoon to you guys there. We're going to talk about esports and Minecraft Education Edition tonight or today. We're going to go ahead and get started, and just a couple introductions. My name's Jennifer Brown. I'm a professional learning specialist with NCCE. I'm also a computer science teacher in Tampa, Florida. So I'm a little bit ahead of you guys in time. So if you are on Twitter, you can follow me at @TechIsForGirls, or you can always email me if you ever have questions after this at jbrown@ncce.org. I am a Minecraft mentor and Microsoft Innovative Educator expert. And so I'm really excited to talk to you tonight about doing esports through Minecraft Education Edition. So here's our agenda for the next 43 minutes or so. What I'm going to dive in a little bit to what is Minecraft Education Edition for those of you who haven't used that very much. Then what is esports and why esports are so important and how esports works inside Minecraft Education Edition. And then I'm going to give you a bunch of resources because 45 minutes is definitely not enough time to show you all the ins and outs of everything, but I can show you where you can find that information. And all of the links that I'm going to talk about and all of the sources that I've used for this presentation, I will give to you at the end in a Wakelet, so you'll have access to that. But I would love to know who's in the Zoom right now. So if you don't mind going to slido.com, that you can do it on your device or pull up another tab on your computer and putting in the code 884892, just letting me know what role do you play, what you teach, what grade level, if you're an administrator, just to get an idea of who is here tonight. So slido.com. And the code is 884892. Put that in the chat for you. The chat is also there. If you guys have questions at any point during the presentation tonight, just let me know what questions you have, and I'd be happy to answer them. All right, we have a couple of esports club and coaches and advisors. That's awesome. Administrator, technology support. Director of technology, awesome. All right. Very nice. Lots of esports people here. That's awesome. I'm very excited about that. And you can leave that Slido up. We're going to be interacting a little bit more later on, and it will be that same link and same code. And you'll see new questions pop up as we move along. But thank you for those of you who let me know what role you played. It helps just sort of knowing who is out there and what kind of questions you might have or where the conversations might lead. So thank you very much. And whoops. And the next question that should have just popped up on your Slido is, how familiar are you with Minecraft Education Edition? So again, if you're just joining us, my name's Jennifer Brown, and we are at slido.com with the code 884892. And just answering a couple questions now. How familiar are you with Minecraft Education Edition? See where we're at in the room. And again, you can leave that Slido up for later on throughout the presentation. So I've got some, I've used it a few times, or if I've seen it but never used it, heard of it but never seen it. All right, we have a little bit all over. A lot have seen it, but never used it and used it a few times. All right, thank you. Well, we're going to dive in then to sort of a little quick overview of what, as soon as I can find my mouse, as what Minecraft Education Edition is, and then dive into the esports side of it. So Minecraft Education Edition is a game-based learning platform. It builds on STEM skills. It uses creativity and collaboration and problem solving, and it really fully engages our students in their learning. The difference with the Education Edition versus regular Minecraft that you might have seen on PlayStations or on the computer is that that the features are designed for teaching. So in this case, they have given us ways to assess our students, ways for our students to collaborate, even full coding built into the program, and it's awesome. And there's so many lessons online. There's already pre-built lessons. I tell everybody when I'm training Minecraft, you will never be the smartest Minecraft person in the room when you're using Minecraft with your students. And you don't have to be, because there's full built out lessons with the worlds already built out. You just need to learn sort of where to find that information, how to facilitate it in a classroom, and let your kids be the experts at all the Minecraft stuff. Today, my students are actually doing a Minecraft project right now, and somebody asked me a question, and I just said, I don't know the answer to that. And I said, hey, who knows the answer to this question? And all these kids came over and was like, oh, I know how to do that. I don't have to know how to build everything correctly. I just need to know how to utilize it in my classroom. And so all of those lessons are there for you. And there's coursework for all different curriculums. Every different area you can imagine is all available on in Minecraft Education Edition. So how do you access it? So if you've never accessed Minecraft Education Edition before, first of all, if your district has Office 365, you could already have access to it. So you could check with your IT people, or you could just install Minecraft Education Edition and log in with your Office 365 account and see if it works. Everyone has a trial version, and teachers get 25 trials where students get 10. So if you logged in and it said you have 24 more trials, you'll know that you don't have access to it with your district yet. But and if you just log in and it just lets you go in, that means your district has access. But you can always check with the technology people in your district as well. You can purchase individual licenses through the Microsoft Store as well. So those are a few different ways you can access it, and all through that Office 365 login. Minecraft is supported on Chromebooks, iPads, Macs, and PCs. And you see on the screen sort of what the minimum operating system is for Minecraft Education Edition. And so they've constantly, Chromebook is relatively new. They're constantly adding different platforms that it's going to be available on. So if you're looking for a platform that's not listed, hopefully soon, keep checking back and it will be. So now I want to move into the esports idea of it. And again, on that slido.com, I would love for you to tell me what comes to mind when you hear the term esports. We got gaming, competitive video game, team play, video games, learning. That's awesome. League of Legends, inclusion. Connecting non-athletes with team sports. Awesome. You guys are hitting a lot of the things I was going to talk about tonight. I'm going to just leave it here, but that's absolutely true. So we're going to sort of talk about what esports is. So if you're new to esports, Esports are video games that are played in highly organized competitive environments. That's the Harvard education definition of that. For schools, esports can be integrated into lots of different situations, but what it does is promote those 21st century skills for our students. It can actually be college prep for them, and now colleges have esports teams and are developing esports teams, and kids can even get scholarships from their esports work. The career and technical education pathway has a lot of esports opportunities as well, and it can prepare our students for those future-ready STEM careers that are, as we know, growing exponentially throughout the United States and the world. You can do an esports program through an after-school program, and I saw some of you had mentioned that you're the esports advisor or coach, and that's awesome. I know there are full courses that are esports courses that you can teach in school, or you can integrate esports into your classes no matter what your curriculum is. So we really want to focus on the 21st century skills aspect of this for a second and look at what what skills esports brings out. So before I do that, I'd love to hear from you. Say, why do you think 21st century skills are so important for our students? Again, back to the Slido. Job market, absolutely. Contributes to a better society, to be successful in their future, in college, in life. Economic realities and market changes enable them to compete. Absolutely. And in some cases, and as I feel like as when I was seeing your list of your jobs and your roles as esports advisors and technology supervisors, I know I might the self-determinator. Very important. I feel like I'm preaching to the choir a little bit when we talk about this, but 21st century skills are so important for our students. And just to name 4 to start that I know are built directly into esports, and you cannot play esports without using these skills. The first being communication. Our students need to be able to learn to communicate with other team members. And in this case, it's in a quick, concise manner. They have to learn to be able to know how to talk and communicate with their teammates. And, you know, we deal a lot with students who have a difficult time, especially these days, interacting with other students because everything's done online. Esports, even though it's online gaming, they're still having to interact and get that communication and that collaboration that's so important for our students to learn. Next is research. The students for esports really need to understand what the game mechanics are, how to best play the game, and research plays a big role in that. With our students now, we are not just preparing them for a job, we are preparing them possibly for jobs that don't exist yet. So we need to teach them how to learn, and so much of that is research-based. I tell my students all the time, one of the best skills that you can know how to do is to know how to Google. And because being able to find the information and know what is correct information is so important, and esports can help with that. Critical thinking. Students are making all sorts of decisions in an esports competition quickly, and they have to really practice that critical thinking piece of what decision do I need to make, and I have to make it quickly, and then be able to then make another decision based off what happens. So critical thinking is one of the biggest things that students are practicing when they're playing esports. And then determination. Growth mindset and persistence are key in gameplay. What I like to do when I talk about determination and persistence with my students is connect it to school for them. I say, when you play a video game for the first time, you plug it in, you turn it on, and then you're playing and your person dies. Do you just immediately say, well, I'm never going to be good at this game, and you just like throw that game away and you quit? And they all look at me like I'm crazy, of course. And they say, no. And I go, then have you ever failed a math test and then said, well, I'm never going to understand this math, and so I'm just not going to be good at it? And they'll, yeah. Why don't you do the same thing in math as you do when you play a game? And so I like to be able to connect those two things and show them that what they're learning when they're playing a game needs to be able to go over to their work life, their school life, and they use those same skills. They don't always, and I teach middle school, and so my students have a really hard time connecting the dots sometimes. And so I try to make it apparent and say, you are using this skill right now. Where else can we use this skill to make life a little bit easier? And so determination and persistence is really large 21st century skill that our students will need. In fact, there's a Forbes article called The 10 Vital Skills That You Will Need for the Future of Work. And you'll see on here those same skills that I've just mentioned, plus some others. And I think there's probably an argument for everything on here being a skill that our students learn when using esports and when playing esports, because of that, that's why it's so important that our students have access to it. Because again, and I said this already, but we're preparing our students for that job that doesn't exist. I cannot give them the knowledge that they're going to need to know, but I can give them the skills that will help them succeed and be able to obtain that knowledge and grow as an adult when they get to their future. So esports is one great way to enable these skills in our students. So now let's talk about how esports works inside of Minecraft Education Edition and what that looks like. So when you log into Minecraft Education Edition, you can go in and play and go to their library. They have subject kits built directly into the game. And now one of those subject kits is an esports kit. There's 4 different areas here, and I'm going to go here into this make and model one. But you can go into any of them. They're all esports worlds. There's lots of different awesome opportunities in all of these worlds, including full lesson plans, which I'll show you in just a little bit. Then you can click Create World. You can also get a share link right there instead of clicking Create World and share that with your students so that they can just click on the link and it would take them straight to that, so they don't have to do all the clicking that you just saw me go through. Once the world loads, this one's called Pirate Cove. You can look around, you'll see that there is an NPC here, a non-player character. They give you lots of information. And in this case, there's a link to the framework, the esports framework. And I'm also going to give you a link to that framework later as well. Inside every esports world, there's a board that looks similar to this where you can adjust the time. So esports are generally time-based, and it's a competition. You can add time based on 10-minute increments or 1-minute increments. And then if you add too much or time, you can always remove it as well with a button underneath. And then on the same board is the start button. But before I can hit start, I really need to have my students playing with me. So when I click escape, I get this menu and I can say start hosting. One of the ways I can get my students to log in is this code up here. So that's the join code. I can give them that code and they say, potion sign, or I can click on that share link as you just saw, and then give them the direct link to join the world. Now, the key is they have to be in the same Microsoft or Office 365 tenant. So, so you have to make sure that it's, your students are all in the same tenant in order to play together. Then once the people come in, so now they've joined in and they're going to go stand on either the yellow or the green, and all of them it's yellow or green. And then I can click start. So if they are not standing on the yellow or green when I click start, they will just be bystanders, they will not be able to participate. They have to be standing on one of those spots, because what happens is it sends them here into their build area. So there's a yellow build area and a green build area, and no one is allowed in either area except the people who were standing on that spot. So the yellow team is all going to be in the yellow area. They cannot go over to the green area. If they try, they kind of get thrown back out. And this is where they build. This is really where you can bring in all of those different curriculum connections. If you're, in language arts and they're going to build something that has to do with a book that you're reading, maybe you're doing history or geography and they build a landmark from an area that you were studying. Maybe it's math and they're building something to represent volume or area. But regardless, they're doing it in two different spots as a competition. So at this point, they're working in teams, they're talking, they're, dividing up roles and collaborating to do a build in the amount of time that you've given them. When it is over, when time is up, you have 2 minutes to vote. So there will be voting areas. One will be yellow, one will be green, and all the people who are there, whether they're a player or a bystander, can go stand on the area to vote. As a teacher, I can also lay down armor stands, and those would be counted as a vote. So maybe there are people watching who get to vote that aren't in the game, and I can lay down armor stands for those people who are watching. So I have a couple minutes to vote, and then when the time is up, that it shows you who the winner is, and you get a little fun excitement happening there at the end with some fireworks. Yay, you're the winner. So a fun, exciting way to do esports that is collaborative and creative. So as you're watching this, are there any aha moments, or even if you want to put questions on here, any ideas that already popped into your head of how something that you want to try or maybe look into a little bit more with the Minecraft Education Edition version of esports? Again, you can add that to that Slido. It is great with your whole class. I will say that Minecraft generally recommends no more than 10 people on a team, because it does get a little chaotic if you have more than that. Most of the time in a lot of the lesson plans, it'll say 4 to 6 per team. I have had it where I have students who just wanted to watch, and so they just got to sort of watch everybody build, and so they were the bystanders and would get to vote. I also have had where if I am able to have 2 computers, I got a laptop and my teacher computer, I might actually host 2 different, depending on the size of my class, 2 different worlds so that everybody in the class can play, but it's not too overwhelming. So it's just a couple ideas with that. Any other aha moments or thoughts that came up while you guys were watching this? How do you do it virtually? So it's the same way you would host the world through Zoom or Teams or whatever it is that you use, and your students would log in. Now, again, they have to be in the same tenant. So like a tenant is usually like a school district is a tenant, or a company has a tenant. And so you would do the same thing where you would do the join code. And I've done, collaborative play with people all over the United States, as long as we were in the same tenant. And then they would just come in. So you would need to host it, so they could, and I like to host it and show my screen if I'm doing it virtually, so that they can see at the end what the other teams looks like. And they sort of see more than just what's on their screen. But you can do it virtually just the same as you would do in the classroom, except the communication issue can be, thank you, Jeanette. You could put them into breakout rooms if you wanted to do it virtually, so that they could communicate. That would probably be your best bet in terms of the communication. They can chat inside Minecraft Education Edition. There is a chat feature where they can chat with each other. So they could possibly chat with each other that way, but that's a little bit more difficult. So I would suggest putting them into breakout rooms and to work, and then you can bring everybody back together at the very end. So as I said earlier, with a 45 minutes, it's not a lot of time for me to dive into all the ins and outs of all of Minecraft Education Edition or esports. So tonight was supposed to be, just wanted to give you a broad overview, but I really want to give you some resources that can take you a lot further. So the first resource is the Minecraft Education Edition website. So it's education.minecraft.net. And again, all of these links will be in the wakelet at the end. When you come in there and hover over Teach with Minecraft, all the way under resources is esports. You can also, where it says explore lessons, go, and that's where you would find all the lessons that exist for Minecraft Education Edition, whether it's esports or not. But esports has its own area on the website. I would suggest that you create a sign up, an account. It's free for this website. One is because I like to say I often fall down the rabbit hole on this website where I was just seeing so many really cool stuff that once you have an account, you can favorite things, and then it makes it easier to find it again. But so you can create that pretty quickly just by going to sign in and creating a very short little profile. But there is the esports area. Once you're on that esports area, there is a 5-minute video. Some of the video was what I've used tonight. It's a nice overview of how it works inside Minecraft. But then you have all of these lesson plans and worlds. So as you scroll down, you'll see more and more lesson plans, and they are constantly adding to this. So right now, I think I saw today was 26, but I think they're constantly adding to it. And then you can click on view lesson on any of them. And then you have some great resources for this particular world right inside here. So I have learning objectives for this activity. Some of these actually have, this one is a coding one. So some of the learning objectives was learning to code. I have some teacher prep and notes for me to get set up, guiding ideas of what the lesson is going to be, what the students would do in terms of their activity, or options, sometimes options for their activity. I have my performance expectations. What do I hope that they get out of this activity by the end? And then some references. I have that framework, and I also have a Minecraft playlist, and that's a YouTube playlist, and I'll give you a link to that in a little while as well. So lots of resources on that website just for that one lesson. Let me go back. So that's the website. And again, it's education.minecraft.net, and I will have all of these links for you at the end. But this is the best place to start to really dive into what's available for you and dive into what already exists in terms of worlds. That's what I love about Minecraft Education Edition, is that all of it is created for me. And then I can go in and make tweaks and changes, but I have somewhere to start from, and even including all of these amazing lesson plans with all of my, guidelines and everything already set up for me. So it saves me a lot of time. Another great place to go, especially if you're new to Minecraft Education Edition, is the Microsoft Educator community. That's education.microsoft.com. And again, I'll give you that link at the end. And in here is a teacher academy for Minecraft Education Edition. So it's made up of many different courses that take you from the basics of how to lay blocks to the more advanced of how to do chemistry inside Minecraft Education Edition, redstone, coding. And so it really walks you from the beginner to more advanced, and it really focuses on using it in the classroom. There's a whole course on just how to use classroom management and be ready in your classroom to use Minecraft Education Edition. It's a really great course. Another course or learning path on the Microsoft Educator community is a coding academy. So if you're interested in bringing more coding and computer science to your students, you can go through the courses on this academy, and it really focuses on the curriculum that's already created for you on Minecraft Education Edition. That's all about computer science. One other course that is available to you as well is one called Esports More Than a Game. And this one is just an overview of esports, why esports is important. And it's a very quick course, but has lots of great information, some of which I've actually pulled for this presentation as well. So as I promised, all of the resources that I gave you throughout this whole presentation are on this Wakelet. And I'm actually, so there is a QR code there on your screen, but I'm going to place the link directly in the chat there for you. And so you can open that and bookmark it if you want to take a look at it. So it has resources of just Minecraft Education Edition resources. It has esports and Minecraft Education Edition resources. And then it has all of the sources that I've used for this presentation are listed in there as well, including Slides Mania, which is where I got this awesome slide presentation template. I want to give them a shout out because that's an awesome free site and she does amazing work. So check out that Wakelet for all of the resources. But I wanted to leave some time here at the end to really answer questions or open it up to questions, even for some of you who are out here already doing esports in your school. So if you have some questions or something you would like to open up with the group, please go ahead and add those to the Slido now, or if you would prefer to put it in the chat, you can do that as well. Can kids work on a competition outside of our class time? The thing with the esports is that it's usually a timed event. So it would need to be a specific time that they were in there doing the actual esport event. So where you put the timer on and then they have a certain amount of time, whatever you set for them to do their build. Now they could practice together just in any Minecraft world. They can open up what's called a blocks of grass world where that's just like a blank slate, and they could practice building together in that. And that would be a great way for them to sort of practice their teamwork before they got together to do their competition. So they would need to download and I'll pull this over onto my screen here. They can download the Minecraft Education Edition to their device at home, and they can do it a couple different ways. One, they can do it through their Play Store on their device, but they can also come here to the main education.minecraft.net and go to download. And it's going to have all of the different downloads available for them. And it usually gives them recommended based on their device. And then they can look at the different platforms or go straight to the store from here. So this is a great place to send them, but a lot of my students already know, they just open up the store and install it from there. So, but it is free. It is a free download. And if they have access through school, then it'll be free for them to log in. You're welcome. Any other questions? You can type those in the chat. I'm going to put this up. If you are someone who likes to earn badges or likes to go to the Microsoft Educator Center, I have a code you can redeem. So it's at the education.microsoft.com. And once you create an account, you just click on your little the little face or your little avatar up here in the top right and choose redeem code. And then you would type in this code that you see on the screen, and I'm actually going to put that in the chat as well. So this way you can earn credit for attending this training or this webinar tonight about esports and Minecraft, and that adds points to your Microsoft Educator Center account. If you would like to do that, it is on there. Again, thank you so much. I know this was a really quick, fast overview of Minecraft Education Edition and esports. I hope you learned something from tonight and feel a little bit better understanding of how esports works inside Minecraft Education Edition. We're done a little early, and I'm happy to stay on as long as you guys need me to if you have other questions. Otherwise, I hope you have a great rest of your day, and thank you so much for joining us.